Okay. I'll,
Be it resolved that the minutes of the September 19th, 2023 regular meeting of council and October 4th, 2023 special meeting of council be approved as circulated and posted.
I'll second the motion.
Second, anybody got any questions? All in favor? Carried.
Be it resolved that the agenda be adopted with the approved addition of RF Now Incorporated Path Edition and the order to be altered as required.
Councilor Maxwell, second. Anybody, any questions? All in favor for the addition? Carried. Okay. Accepting delegations. Now we'll have a motion to go into public hearing. Well, 7:01, so we've advertised at 7:05, so better wait till 7:05. Can we go down to?
I didn't receive any reports of committees. Do you guys have anything to report?
Communications, there's 3 on there. We can deal with them if anybody has any.
I'll make the motion, be it resolved that the following communications received and filed. The 2023 municipal operating grant, final payment, Crane Stoppers, signage letter, office administration schedule.
I'll second.
Okay, second. Any questions?
So in the Crime Stoppers attachment, you'll find that they completed a project and received some funding from Manitoba Justice. So the signs were developed with joint input from the Crime Stoppers, AMM, and the RCMP. They're all weather aluminum, but they haven't arrived yet. But once we receive them, we'll put them up. And then also you'll see that we received their final payment for the 2023 municipal operating grant. That was part of how the province changed municipal funding, where they put it into a single pool of funds. So we received that this year. And then the office administration schedule kind of gives you guys a heads up on some interruptions in services we might be having as we transition the data from Assist to Unisoft, in addition to bringing out the asset management company that was funded by the FCM grant.
Great. Thanks, Jordan. Update. Anybody else have any questions? All in favor? Carried. We can go to the accounts. We still got 2 minutes, so. Number 8.
Be resolved, the council of the RM Cornwallis do hereby adopt and approve the list of accounts for expenses with checks number 11594 to 11639 for a total amount of $124,278.67. And further be resolved, the council of the RM Cornwallis hereby adopt and approve payroll and council indemnities and expenses for the amount of $59,662.
Second.
Second. Anybody got any question? Okay. Call for the question. All in favor? Still at 7:03.
Be it resolved that the audited financials as of September 30th, 2023 be accepted as presented.
Seconder,
Second.
Councilor Ross. Any questions?
As always, if you do have any questions, just take note of the account line for more additional details. Just send me a note and I can supply you with additional information. The main thing is on the balance sheet, you'll see that our accounts receivable, taxes on roll has gone way down because September 30th was our tax deadline. And subsequently, our cash on deposit has gone up to reflect the collection of those taxes.
Anybody else? Any questions? Yeah. Okay, I'll call for that. All in favor? Yeah, carried. Okay. Then we'll scroll up to the public hearing. We've got a few. Wait till 7:05. It's Is it 7? Yeah, there it is. Yeah, okay. Some motion there.
Under 4.1.1. Or 4.1.2.
A motion.
Open public hearing for zoning bylaw amendment.
Be it resolved that the council of the Borough Municipality of Cornwall hereby adjourn the regular meeting of council to enter into a public hearing on a zoning bylaw amendment for bylaw 1715-06-2023 at 7:05 p.m.
Can I have a second? Councilor Drohan. No, anybody got any question? All in favor? Okay, we're in public hearing. So what I will do, as we should, I'll read something out for the audience, what this public hearing is about. The purpose of this public hearing is to receive representations from the applicant and any persons who wish to make them concerning. We will first hear from the applicant, then from those present who wish to make representations, starting with anyone who wants to speak in favor of the proposal. At the end of the presentations, the applicant will have an opportunity to respond. If it's the response applicant supplies new information or raises new concerns, then the others will be given an opportunity to speak again. At the end of each presentation, the members of council may ask for clarification from the speaker on any fact or issue, but will not enter into any debate. Persons speaking must address the chair. If they have questions that they think the applicant should answer, they should raise them in their presentation to the chair. The applicant will have an opportunity to respond to questions when the other presentations are finished. This is also not the time to question the members of council under the Planning Act. The purpose of the public hearing is for council to receive representation, and discussion or argument involving members of council is inappropriate. There should be no interruptions while a person is making a presentation. Order must be maintained. Okay, I ask the applicant to come forward.
Did you say what the application was?
Yeah, the applicant is,
We're here tonight to rezone agricultural general land to rural residential classification as part of a subdivision. Included in council's package is the community planning report to council, where they circulated it amongst their agencies. 5 responded and there were no concerns or objections. Keystone Planning District provided notice by mailing to 27 specific ratepayers in addition to running the advertisement in the Brandon Sun. We did receive 1 written letter of opposition, but we'll address that later.
the applicant is here. You come up and state your name.
Hi, I'm Tyler Rice.
Can you come forward?
now?
Feel free to grab a chair if Tyler want. But
My name's Tyler Rice. I've been here a dozen times so far to present, answer questions to council about our proposed development, which was approved last year by the provincial municipal board. And there's a couple new councillors here. Maybe some new people in the neighborhood. You're welcome to answer any questions about our residential plan off of Gray Road for 22 new residential homes. And to date, I have not received a question from council, so I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody has.
does any council member have a question for the applicant? Okay. If not, I'll from the audience. Is there anybody that wants to speak in favor of the application? or have any questions for the applicant? Is there anybody that is in opposition of this application?
I've received a written letter from Gary and Lana Jennings. Gary and his wife are against the reclassification, which will lead to the development of the proposed residential subdivision for the following reasons. Well water supply being the first and their biggest concern. Adding more wells could affect their present water supply. If it does, then who will bear the responsibility and provide the remedy? The risks are far too great in their view unless there's another source of water. Another reason was land saturation. In their opinion, more house lots added would be too much for the square footage of the area by adding septic fields to the new wells dug, and it appears to be overcrowding. And lastly is road infrastructure. More homes will add to the traffic on Gray Road, which appears to be unable to handle the subdivision. But none of it was really due to the zoning, which is what we're here for tonight.
Yeah. Is anybody else in the audience that wants to speak? There's CEO just pulled up the map there. That's what we're here for.
Mr. Chair, are we not allowed to ask questions?
Yes, feel free to.
But no, we're not allowed to ask questions of you guys? Is
Yes.
that correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Well,
I'm
Come up
Tracy
and state your
Andrews.
name.
I'm Tracy Andrews and I live at the bottom of Grey Road and one over. I have a concern because any increase in traffic on Grey Road poses a potential hazard to us. I would like some questions or some guarantees. Myself and Linda next door, we are the ones that are going to bear the brunt of the traffic going up there. It is already extremely dangerous to turn into our house because we are right onto Grand Valley Road. People mistake that they're going up Grey Road and turn up, that either don't stop behind us when we signal half a kilometre away that we're turning. The closest I've come to a collision was actually an RCMP officer. So they come right up to our bumpers as we turn because we have no option but to stop to turn because we're at a 90-degree angle. Is there going to be some signage put up to prevent us from being in a car accident? Because what's happening now is people think we're turning up Grey Road, they zoom right up our back end, and then when they realise we're not, they then pull over the other side of the road, which is a double yellow line. So somebody is going to get hit on that corner. And any increase of traffic puts us more at risk and puts Linda more at risk as well, because she has to drive out onto Grey Road to the downcoming traffic. So anything extra up there puts us at risk. So I don't object to the subdivision per se. I just think we need to address that road and make it safer for all the residents.
Could I ask you to please sign the sheet? Thank you.
So you don't object to this?
I don't object to the subdivision per se, as long as safety isn't kept in mind for the residents that are currently there, because any increase makes it unsafe for us. So as long as that's done, then I don't object.
Thank you, Tracy. Is there anybody else?
I just want to say, just from back to Tracy there, my name's Linda Douglas, and I live right in the corner of Gray and Grand Valley. So I get first-hand view of the traffic and everything going up and down there. Again, I'm not opposed to the development. It's the safety of that road, because I see daily traffic is going into the ditch to be able to pass each other. People are, come over that hill, and personally coming out onto Gray Road, I cannot see that person till they're over that hill. I'm just fortunate that I go to work early, but there's usually not somebody coming, or I can see their headlights. But a lot of times, like this summer, I almost hit a guy on a motorbike because I couldn't see him. So, like I said, not opposed at all, but the road has to be fixed before we increase traffic. Right, that's a big thing, and as well as water, because we're at the bottom of the hill. How's that going to affect us, the water? Because I believe there was a study before in regards to the water. And there was no concrete evidence that water wouldn't be affected. My concern as to Mr. and Mrs. Jenkins is who's gonna pay for that if my well runs dry? Cause I've been out there like 24 years now, never had an issue with water. So that's a big concern. So again, like I say, not opposed, but we shouldn't put the cart before the horse in regards to that. Like I said, fix the road first, make sure concrete evidence that there's gonna be water. And yeah, but do it first instead of after the fact. And because I've seen enough accidents on Gray Road as it is. And near misses on the corner of Gray and Grand Valley. Like tons. And people are flying down Grand Valley, Gray Road. So it's a big concern.
Thanks, Linda. Yeah, sign the paper. Yep. Is there anybody else?
Hi.
Yep.
We also, on Pat Vegas, we also live on Gray Road.
Yeah.
I mean, we
Can
love
you-
living on Gray Road.
Yeah, can you state your name?
Pat Vegas,
Okay, sorry.
PEG. We see traffic, we were thankful that the sign was changed from 70 kilometers an hour to 50, but people aren't following the rules. And we've driven to the top of Gray Road, and they need to maybe move the sign in different places where people coming from the top place or the other, what was the other place? It's not at the right place, people aren't gonna see it. If there's like one person that lives at the end of the road will see the sign, the rest it's too far up the road for people to see that it's 50. People don't seem to realize or care that it should be 50. And we see a lot of traffic on that road, surprisingly, especially at certain times of the day and even at night. I can see all the cars coming up there, but I'm not an objection to the development, it's just that I think the road needs to slow down, the Gray Road. Because it's just getting dangerous. And people are passing, like she said, on the double line, when we slow down to turn right on Gray Road to come up it, people pass on the double lines and there's no visibility for them to be doing that. So I don't know who should be addressed for that. Thank you.
Thanks.
Pat, can I bug you to sign that piece of paper?
Sorry.
When it comes to these hearings, we need to provide everyone who spoke notice of the decision after.
Yeah, this is all new to us.
So that's why I'm bugging you to sign it.
Well, that's fine.
Is there anybody else objecting or wants to speak about this application? Okay, last call. Anybody objects or wants to add? Does the applicant, I'll give you one more chance there, Mr. Rice, to add anything if you've heard anything here that would.
No, that's good. I think people's questions are fair. I own the land on the road. I always drive on roads. Roads are made to be driven on. There's taxes that some businesses on our road could be collected from. They're running a little dry, I think, compared to what they should be. They're zoned for commercial business and they're not paying those taxes, so that will contribute a few dollars. If you look at our plan, those tax dollars come back to the RM and help pay for roads and upgrades and those kind of things. Either way, our property is zoned agriculture, so our actual road use and our traffic isn't any more than the 22 homes that would go on there with lighter traffic. So contrary to would believe that I would be opposed to that. There was actually information provided at several hearings prior. There's a water study. It's all been reviewed and provided to council, including Sam, so he should be able to address that. All that stuff was reviewed and approved almost 2 years ago. As far as current traffic on the road, it's actually less than Jerome Road. So our former Reeve and councillor paved that road. And I have asked that Gray Road be paved. No different than Hunter Road as far as safety. This council approved an engineering study that actually reviewed the road Actually, provincial standards were set in place and found that it's actually built to standard. And traffic numbers are well below what it's permitted to operate, so that doesn't have anything to do with us. There's a new councillor on board who started the position 2 years ago, asking for specific upgrades to Gray Road that are done, specifically road grading. So currently he's been on council as the existing Reed has been on council for 20 years. And his number one complaint, quote unquote, is improvements to gravel roads service. So servicing a road makes a big difference, and I'm in the same boat. I think a road should be serviced. We pay taxes for that, and there's money in the pot to do that. And if it's not being done, or signage isn't being done, that's for everyone to benefit from. So people driving quickly on Grand Valley should be slowed down. It's what the Provincial Highways Act is for, and I appreciate people commenting on our development. We're here to add homes and choose to where we live. If you apply the same standard to where you live, it's no different than my property or where I live, which I live on Jerome Drive, which actually has, just so you know, more than 2 times the traffic on Jerome Drive. By the end of our development, there'll still be more traffic on Jerome Drive. Jerome Drive just had approved another 8 lots, 6 lots, or 10 lots over the last couple of years. So there's been more traffic added to it, and it's got a paved road, and it seems to work pretty well. And it also would benefit to the Gray Road for it to be paved, and that should be part of consideration. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Rice. Yep. Anybody else? That'll be the last call for any objections. Okay. Okay, before I ask for the question, to close the hearing, I will add to Mr. Rice's comments there. The previous council did reject the application for the subdivision, and it is the applicant's right to appeal it to the municipal board. There was a hearing where the municipality was represented by their lawyer, by their engineer, and by the firm that did the secondary plan, put an argument for it. And our engineer, in consultation with the documentation that Mr. Rice, his engineers provided, didn't feel the well water or the groundwater for wells is an issue. So the municipality at that public hearing did not argue against the groundwater concern, because Mr. Rice's engineer, in consultation, our engineer reviewed it. He said there's no issue. What the municipality did at that hearing, just for everybody's information, argued the safe Gray Road was the key point where we were concerned. And to this date, the municipality is in consultation with our engineer we heard the people safety. We heard it 3 times tonight at least. This isn't finished yet. We got no solution. Our engineer is looking at what can be done with Gray Road. I'm not an engineer, but when people speak, we got to listen to them. So and our engineer himself realizes Gray Road, there's something that can be done there.
Can I say something to that?
Just give me a second. To realign it, with municipality is looking at realigning Gray Road. I mean, it's going to be an option, so we're going to look at it to address the people's concerns that got brought forward at multiple meetings, and our own engineer. We don't want to see the accident that people are concerned about. So we're, in my opinion, this council is nowhere near making a decision for what we're going to do with Gray Road. I think we'll listen to our engineers and planners and go from there. Yeah, excuse me. Go ahead.
I just answer that since you made a statement based on what I said or what was represented on my behalf, which was speaking on behalf of our engineers, actually isn't true. It's actually an independent water services company that's a geologist company. It's not just people randomly. These are the highest level of provincial, which this RM is used to consult for water services. And all of that stuff's available. It was all reviewed by council and approved almost 2 years ago. Sam was part of those meetings. Sam provided no argument on any one of those things. And it's incorrect for him to say that that information wasn't reviewed and considered as far as the application. Actually, the provincial board reviewed it. Another thing was, just for people's reference, as far as costs and upgrades on where your tax dollars are going, as far as this application, this council has now spent, I can get you a detail if you want to get into it, but let's just generalize and call it about $80,000 of your tax dollars towards opposition to our subdivision. That's directly as a result of Sam's comments and him not answering our requests for questions. So I don't like to speak negatively about something, but when somebody says something and does the opposite, I have to respond to that. You just referenced, Sam, that the council will have more to say about this. I think the council should act independently. As of right now, you haven't addressed me on this subject in 2 years. You haven't written my consultants or anybody one comment in 2 years. I've been in front of this council and I've heard all these people's comments, and my comments are no different. Just like one of our councilors now who started a petition about improvements for Grey Road, which was done almost 2 years ago. So my question for you is how much, and saying that your consultant is reviewing it is actually fictional, because the consultants have reviewed it and there's nothing wrong with it. So quote unquote, you're searching for something, and I've got the voice recording that says you're asking the consultants to find something wrong with Grey Road. So if you'd like to review that legally, we can do that. But that's a fact, and it was said in this chamber. So misleading constituents here about Grey Road safety, it's simple. Grand Valley Road is a provincial highway. So my first meeting, very first time in here 2 years ago, was concerned by one of the residents who sits here in the former Reeve about the safety in the corner of Grey Road. They said you couldn't see, the trees were there. So I made one phone call to Provincial Highway, the trees get removed, and now all you have. So these people here are to sit, and if there's a speed limit issue, they're supposed to address it. They're not supposed to talk around it, and they're not supposed to blame me for it. I can't change the signs and the speed. I drive on that road just like we all do. And the speed limit isn't any different than anywhere else in the province. If there's an issue, they have to address it. So I'll just leave you with this. In 2 years since the petition, the person who sits on council now, what have you done as far as improving Grey Road, other than hire Burns Mandel and give them dollar after dollar to speak the same thing? Personally, I would question that you've done anything. And the same question would go to Sam Hofford as far as when we define safety, it's a determinable item. So it has to be something is safe or unsafe. And it isn't decided by you, it's decided by the provincial highways and or standards which they built the road. So when you say it's unsafe, it's a determinable item. So it's either not narrow, not wide enough, too much slope. It's actually not true. So any one of those items, as in the report, you can all see it. Any of those items were discussed over a year ago and should be addressed. Again, problems versus solutions. And if your people here, you have questions, concerns, those are the people that can address them. So they say it and they have to do something about it. So changing a sign isn't my responsibility, it's theirs. If it should be 30, the speed limit coming down Grey Road should be 30 kilometers an hour, so be it. That probably wouldn't be a terrible thing. The road width isn't an issue. Should it be maintained more with more traffic? Absolutely. I've had 3 gravel road companies come out there and review the road for safety. Nobody wants an unsafe road. The fact is, the road is just as wide, just as much slope as any other gravel road. It's actually in better condition than 80% of the road is quote unquote asphalt. So if it's icy, you fix ice with what? Service. We pay taxes. I'm paying taxes. POSPA's paying taxes. People have lived here for 25 years, drive over and use the wrong road because it's paved. it's icy, it's icy. And we can fix ice with salt and road sand, and that's all not a reason to disapprove or think negatively about adding new homes into the area, which we all enjoy, because our improvements to the properties will actually benefit each and every homeowner, not through like more traffic, but through more people, more families being able to live in our area. So if anyone has questions on what we want to build up there, they're happy to reach out to me anytime. But I'll leave it at that. Thanks.
Thanks, Mr. Rice. Yeah. Come on up here.
I just had a question a bit more on the process. So these guys have been to quite a few of these things and all this. Is this kind of one of the final steps of the whole deal, I guess?
This is, you want to explain?
And this is typically, the zoning happens at the end of the process then?
Yeah.
Like it is right now? Okay. No, that's all right.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Did you want his name, or he's not objecting or anything? Do you need his name? Yeah. But I want to clarify something. The subdivision is approved. Like the municipal board approved the subdivision. What we're doing tonight is amending the zoning bylaw. So, we can't disapprove it. That's a given. Okay, anybody else? Is anything? Yeah, come on in. Come on.
Thank you, Mr. Reed.
Yeah.
Mike, you just answered my question. Like, I wondered why we were here, because I was thinking that this had already been handled and appealed. But that's why it's we're changing the zoning.
Zoning, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you.
Be it resolved, the Council of the Arm of Cornwallis hereby adjourn the public hearing at 7:32 PM and resume the regular meeting of council.
Okay, can I have a second? Yep, Councilor Rohan. Anybody have any questions closing the hearing? Call for the question. All in favor? Okay, the hearing is now closed. Lost connection. Yeah,
We're at next page, 4.2.
4.2. So we're going to 4.2. Okay, 4.2.
Be resolved that the reception of delegation from Paul Anaka be received. Oh, sorry, I guess that's a resolution after he gets it, sorry.
The reception. So, Mr. Anakin, you're on the clock. Yeah, yeah, good evening.
My
Have a
name's
chair,
Paul
state your name and.
Yeah, my name's Paul Naka. I'm a resident of Chater, and I just had some questions for CEO and council.
Just feel free to have, got 10 minutes.
So, first of all, I just wanted to speak regarding the rainwater system that's being installed. A little concerned about lack of communication. I've presented multiple emails to our CEO, probably since spring, just requesting updates. Emails went unanswered. I was told to reach out to the company on multiple times. I did that. The company told me to reach out to the CEO. So it's just a big vicious cycle, I guess, so to speak. So just wondering why there wasn't more communication involved in this process. I moved from an RM in 2017 in northern Manitoba, and they undertook a project that involved running municipal water to probably around 1,000 residents. And the communication that was involved with that project was incredible compared to this project that's currently going on in Chater. So I'm just wanted to raise my concern about, we've always heard about the word transparency and things like that. Just want to say I'm very disappointed in just the lack of information that was provided to the residents. And second of all, I wanted to, I requested that Mr. Brad Roth be present at this meeting tonight. I don't know if that occurred or not? Mr. Mueller, do you know anything about, like, spoke to you and requested his presence tonight?
Yeah, well, no, you're here to be a reception delegation to council, not individual members of the municipalities or KPD's personnel.
Okay. So another concern of mine was the institution of a bylaw regarding enclosing pools in the RM. So we had a pool in our yard for a year. And then the bylaw was presented that we were required to enclose our fence. I'm not opposing that bylaw, it makes complete sense. What I was opposing was the fee that was tagged along with it for a permit to build said fence or enclosure. I believe it was around $150. So I wasn't going to, just out of matter of personal principle, I wasn't going to proceed with that, so we got rid of our pool. The following year, like during that year, I did notice some fences went up. The following year, the pools went up again, however, the fences did not. So I'm just wondering why that wasn't policed. Like, it just, the optics of it just seem like it was a cash grab for these permits. Like, I can drive to work now, and during the summer, I saw at least 5 pools in my 15-minute drive to work that had no enclosures whatsoever around the pool. So just a little perturbed about that, and wondered why that wasn't policed more, and why, I guess, perhaps fines weren't levied against people that were not enclosing their pools after they did it the first year. And lastly, I guess I had a concern about the roads in Chater. I had sent emails starting in the spring after a few rains. We had a lot of heavy construction coming into our community, dealing with putting in the system, and the roads got quite sloppy. I requested them multiple times for gravel. My emails fell on deaf ears. I copied the Reeve, I copied all the councillors. Finally got some action here recently, a couple weeks ago. Just puzzled and shocked of just the lack of communication and understanding of what was required in the community. Like, there's lots of kids that ride bikes. There's lots of people that walk with strollers. All the streets were muddy, and nothing was done about it for months and months. And then finally, here, late September, something was finally done. Lots of gravel was applied to the streets, and then there's one street in the community that wasn't done. Kingdom Avenue wasn't done. I happen to live on that street. Blew my mind why there wasn't any gravel presented on that street, as it was just as muddy as the other streets. But I was told that it wasn't required. So yeah, just a couple of these items, just a little perturbed about it, perturbed about the lack of communication overall. And I hope that changes. From what I understand, Mr. Mueller has tendered his resignation. I hope the new CEO coming in has the ability to reach out more, be a little bit more presentable, respectful to the ratepayers that contact him or her, because that's a duty that you have, in my opinion. Thank you for your time.
Okay. A motion to receive Mr. Annika before we go to the next one.
Be resolved that the reception of delegation from Paul Neka be received as verbally provided.
Councilor Rohan? No? Anybody got any questions? All in favor? Carried. Good. Now, this is for Lynn. Come on up here, Lynn.
Good evening. Thank you for the time.
State your name, and you got 10
I'm
minutes.
Lynn
there.
Forbes. I'm here about some property tax issues. Anyways, first of all, I have sent everyone an email with supporting documentation. I'm assuming that you all got it, so that you can follow along. And blow things up so they're a little bit easier to see. I'll start with mine first, my property taxes. Now, when the whole Budget and mill rate proposals came up in reference to property taxes and property tax increases. I was at that meeting, and that evening when I walked in, there was some joking around the table about how most property taxes would probably stay the same, but Lynn's were probably going to go up significantly. I think we can all remember that, because I remember saying at the time that if mine went up significantly compared to other people's, I would be putting in some bills for some things. Anyways, at that meeting, Mr. Atkinson was here, and he did bring up a good point about how it was an reassessment year, and that as there were going to be reassessments, there was already going to be significant increases in people's taxes. The CAO, I believe, that evening told us that on average, most taxes would stay the same. There would be a few go up, a few go down, and overall, a lot of the increases might only be $25 or $50. Well, the mill rates overall, because the school division, their mill rate changed a little bit. So the mill rates from 2022 changed from 17.947 overall between both the general and the school division mill rate, and changed this year to 17.27 together, although there was the general municipal mill rate was increased significantly from last year. So we kind of lost that. Anyways, my assessment did go up significantly, and I supplied you with the paperwork regarding that. So my assessment increased by just over 21% on paper. Now, I immediately called tax assessment to see what the reasoning was for my property tax assessment to go up so much. And they did tell me that previously, when this quarter section had been subdivided, at that time there was one of my buildings somehow had been neglected off the tax assessment. However, when I got her to list off the property of the building that was neglected, it was only valued at $2,600 on this year. So that did not have a significant impact on the change in my total overall tax assessment. So the overall property taxes for myself increased over $300, which is an increase of 16.3% from last year. So I immediately started to compare some of the other properties in my area. And if we start on property number 1, which I have given to you, those people experienced a 20% increase in their overall property assessment. The second one went down a little bit. However, those people have been paying considerably more than some of the other people in the area for quite a number of years. Plus, they had subdivided the first property off of theirs, and until I made them aware, they were still listed as having 79.22 acres instead of 69.22 acres. Now, if you make note of their farm values, they are still higher than what some of the rest of us are on that same section. So you go to property number 3, their property tax assessment dropped a bit, but there again, they've been paying significantly higher for quite some time. Property number 4, that one, 1 acre, that's valued, the land portion on that is valued at $51,300. They had a property tax increase overall, or property assessment overall of 16.65%. The next property increased. The next property increase, they had just about a 20% property assessment increase. The next property increase again, although it was much lower, it was 9.6%. Then we get to the next property. That one is the other 80 acres off of the same border that I'm on. And that is a newer property that was only built a few years ago. Now, even though that is a much newer property with newer buildings, a double detached garage, and the house itself is significantly larger than what mine is, their overall assessment is not significantly higher. You'll see that that also experienced a 12.59% increase in overall assessment. Mine Like I have previously said, they missed one farm building, but it was only at 2,600, and that's this year's assessment. So my farm buildings increased significantly, and overall, if you don't take the 2,600 out, it was a 21% increase. If you take the 2,600 out, it's a 20.04% increase. Now, I started looking at the first 5 acres, okay? So if you start looking at the first 5 acres on some of these properties, they vary from 64.4 up to 85.5. And number 10 property, that one is directly across the road from me. The first 5 acres there is listed at 64.1 compared to what ours is, over 85,000. Now, when I spoke with land assessment, we were talking about property assessment on the residential one, which is your house, your first 5 acres, and the buildings on the first 5 acres, or what they approve as residential on the first 5 acres. I had asked about the variances in house values. And what I was told was that even though mine was built in 1951, which is, I think, the oldest property out there, and the one right next to me, which had been subdivided off, there really wasn't supposed to be much difference in the value of the property in the marketplace, even though that house is over 300 square feet larger and significantly newer. So I was surprised when I looked at property 11, which there again is just across the road from me, and they have a house, and their farm or their building value is under $40,000. So there's a thing going on here where there's really no standardization. So housing prices are kind of all over the place. You can also see that land values are all over the place. Several of the properties have increased, some significantly more than others, and why? Yes, there's properties that are sold in the marketplace, but if you start looking at these, they don't really reflect specific prices or specific prices per square foot when you start looking at them. Then I started looking a little further. I looked at some of the other farm property around me, and I've given those ones to you too. So there again, our property values are varying from under $700 an acre to $1,245 an acre, right in the very same area within 1 mile of me. Now we get into some of the gravel properties because there again, they're right across the road from me. So I started looking at some of those.
Ms. Forbes,
Mm-hmm.
9 minutes in, our procedure
Okay.
bylaw calls for 10
Yeah,
minutes.
okay.
Yeah. Thanks.
So anyways, I've given you the information with that. Now you can see one of my concerns about this. These property tax statements are issued from the province. So if they're going off the information I'm looking at on land assessment, there's some of the properties here, specifically one that was sold for $4 million and it's only assessed at $240,000. So one has to wonder. And then I look at other farmland in the area, and farmland is over $400,000. So I've also shown you in places here where some of the property is valued at over 60% of what market assessment might be, and other ones are only 6% of what they've been sold for. There's really no rhyme or reason. Anyways, I'm looking for a property tax break. I think mine should be going back down again, as we were told that we weren't going to notice any significant amounts of tax increase. And like I said, when I look at all of this, I begin to wonder, has anyone in the office ever pulled any of these properties and actually checked them to see what people are paying for property taxes, to see if there is any standardization amongst them? And I really wonder why some farmland is assessed so high when maybe so many of the gravel properties are assessed so low. And yes, I know how the property taxes are assessed on those, and I've given you those calculations as well. And specifically, the one property that was sold for $4 million and is only assessed at $240,000. Now, when that property sold, It would only be reasonable to expect all the other gravel properties in the area to have significantly upped in their assessment, especially as gravel is a non-renewable resource. Once it's gone, and you can't get any more out of that property.
Ms. Forbes, 11 minutes, so thanks for the presentation. We're trying to keep everything,
That's fine.
yeah, I appreciate that, but we'll,
I'll wait for my check in the mail this week.
that's again, good information. There's a resolution there.
Be resolved that the reception and delegation from Lynn Forbes be received as verbally provided.
Can I have a second? Councilor Rohan? Yeah, anybody, any question? All in favor? Carried. Okay.
Yeah,
Going count, right? For the bylaw?
I kind of presumed you wanted to, so
Yeah.
I had it written up.
Yeah, can we go? Can we go into the Keystone
Be
Point?
resolved that in accordance with Municipal Act, Section 152, Paragraph 3, Bravo 3, council does hereby close the meeting to the public and move in camera at 7:51 PM.
Can I have a second? Councilor Rohan? Yeah. All in favor? Okay. We'll just, folks, we'll just go next door and in a few minutes, we'll be back.
We're enjoying each other's company, so that's the time to speak. It didn't seem like an hour and a half. No, it was good.
Oh, it's good.
I would have spoken up.
Well,
Regarding the speed sign on Gray Road, if you want to change there from 50 to 30, get some of the residents together, write a petition to council as such, and request a reduction in speed, and also a new spot for that sign. That's all you have to do. And email it, send it in, that gives you the timeline. 4 weeks later, I sent in this and this, nothing happened. Why not? 4 weeks later, same thing happens, and all the council and everything else, that's the only thing to get things done.
So what did your taxes look
Oh, mine went up over 300
what percent?
16.3%.
And that's not the school, that's just municipal.
No, it was both.
The school probably went down. So
The school went, no, the school still went up.
Subdivision,
Rolling River, Rolling Rivers. Well, the mill rate went down for the school. I believe that my tax still went up because remember correct taxes Shiloh, right? I think, and that was my point. We sat at that meeting. Didn't have an opportunity to do that. CAO was out there last week.
And you were saying, no, 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 you guys are wrong.
Shiloh?
Average assessment.
Shiloh, and I
10.7.
think the other one is,
I'm going by memory.
it's a weasel weed.
That means that 10.7%.
Or some community hall.
Without
Brandon Hills community. Yeah, it's the Brandon Hills community. It's one who's we
All
don't
the
know.
way to Milton.
Yeah, why it's not here, I don't know.
They took
We went
advantage
down,
of it.
probably, I was right there.
Municipality increased it. Despite having an
Yeah,
increase
he's
of
still, you can
10.7%. Start.
Yeah.
Most
Well,
municipalities love
that's
it.
my argument. It's been notifications
Got
for us.
10.7%.
Yeah, I'll tell you, right, I don't know. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, a lot of us, when I went through and started looking, there's a lot of people that have 20, between 15 and 20% increase in their property assessment. Oh, they have lots of all.
Yeah, they have lots.
School board.
So that would.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you've also
Yeah.
got somewhere else.
So it's actually.
But the big thing is too, like I said, when I started going through this,
Because it's actually the convention and the RM, they want annual for each.
like I said,
Because I have to
someone
look at
said
the
that you
problem.
got it,
And
just the way they're assessing how far these are, they don't like to sit there and like have lab assessment. It really doesn't matter.
We have a cabin, so clearly it's matter, and it's
Twice as big.
big subdivision, and you go individual in the land,
So
so.
one there is assessed how much there is
It's building sales. I have to look at these presentations, not the
Oh, yeah. Like, that's it. I'm looking at that. I'm like, I consider that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but there's still. I like, if you look at it, you're really not gonna grasp it. Okay. Like, one of the properties that's right close to me, has got labor tax assessment, just about the same as me. And they've got 40 acres of gravel on there, so I don't really charge.
So we don't, so we're so we're the one house in.
Yeah, and that's
So
where
we're
I'm
traveling from east to west.
well, that's true, yes, but it's the same thing with farmland.
Our house.
And we look at farmland, and look at an assessment on farmland, life size of the properties down.
Yeah, so when we go to furniture, yeah,
Minimum 2 to 3 times as much as what the assessment is, that's pretty well, typical.
Yeah, one of the people
Yeah, but the thing is when you look at actual properties sold, and I'm looking at your valuations that range from 6% to 66.5% of what's up for that. Especially if there's no we're talking ground, that might be for that one, because you're part of it. Well, it depends on how many, like, how many acres you have, you can actually use on a new, and it also depends on how far you are.
Yeah.
Elevators, what it's being assessed for, and Yep, exactly. Exactly. But there's land now in Manitoba that's like farmland, selling over $10,000 an acre anywhere. On average, the average, yeah, but the average around here is at least 3,000. And like I said,
Oh, yeah.
like if you got for farm laborers.
It took 3,000, this one, I'm going to sell the 148. How was this?
Oh, yeah. Well, I know, that's what I got.
I was annoyed.
This morning.
Yeah.
They increase it to $5.
That big sign.
Then I think that's the one.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. Well, there is, and I'm not arguing that. What I'm saying is when you compare this with this, and it's pretty much the same, then they should be assessed pretty much the same. And they're not.
Well, that was the initial one.
Yeah, but all the
Consideration.
Oh, yeah, well, surely not asked, but
Well, it's
that was
like
the
something
initial
sold
one.
for $4 million, I would expect it to be assessed at a little more than 240,000. Yes. And something that's sold, yeah, like something.
Yeah. well, surely 24,000. Yeah, if somebody used to rent them.
But that's what I'm saying. You know, I might start like kind of like another drop property out here. They have no idea. It's only
Yeah. Like, because it was.
And a lot of these aren't,
A
lot of these, aren't even assessed for anything. They're supposed to be a farm and then other. That So
Oh, really?
without mineral rights, without mineral rights, you would only get.
Like, not the ones with the.
Yeah, always watching.
So that's this one here, when we put it at 9 and sign it, right?
Yeah, if we give seconds.
Should I direct the mover to, we're out of camera, as soon as Terry's in.
All right. That's what I'm saying. You're in Scotland. Oh, that's a long time ago. I don't even do it now.
Plans been issued, so
Years ago, I guess.
it wasn't 50,000.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, these postal numbers.
I know, it's a little bit of a back too.
Okay,
Yeah, we noticed that.
okay, folks, we're gonna reconvene the meeting here. I'll have a motion to come out of camera.
What is left of this?
Be resolved that council conclude in-camera sessions and reopen the meeting to the public at 8:02 p.m.
Second that. Yeah, seconded. Does any, excuse me, the meeting is back. Yeah, we're back. We've got a mover and a seconder. Anybody got any questions on the camera? Call for the question, all in favor? Okay. Motions in front of you there. So we're on camera.
So we're at 9.21.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion. Go with option 2, be it resolved that the Cornwallis, or the council of the RM of Cornwallis give second reading to bylaw number 1715/06/2023, being a bylaw to amend the RM of Cornwallis zoning bylaw number 1664/03/2016, specifically the zoning map number 1, Grand Valley, in order that lands described as follows: PT Northeast 30, 1019 WPM, and as shown on the map attached to Schedule A to be reclassified from Ag 80 to RR2.
Have a second. Councilor Rohan. Got any question or any comment or second? Any other council have a question? Open question, all in favor? Yeah, carry. Okay. That's,
Third.
yep, the third. Yeah.
Be resolved, the Council of the Iron Cornwall give third and final reading to bylaw 171506/2023, being a bylaw to amend the Iron Cornwall zoning bylaw number 1664/03/2016, specifically the zoning map number 1, Grand Valley, in order that lands described as follows: ETN 301019 WPM, and as shown on the map attached as Schedule A, to be reclassified from Ag 80 to RR2.
Can I have a second? Councilor Brown. Anybody got any questions? All in favor? Carry.
Third readings are recorded votes,
Yeah.
so everyone was in favor, yeah.
So now we can sign this.
Yeah.
Right. Three. Oh, both of them?
No, the other's just a schedule map.
Okay. Down to 11.1. Okay,
Yeah, I don't think we're addressing any of the unfinished business items tonight.
we're rolling right past it.
I believe so.
Whereas Municipal Act Sections 307 and 327-1 require that the amended tax notice be sent to taxpayers, and whereas Section 327-2 requires that the notice sent under 327-1 include a reference to the taxpayer's right to apply for a revision of the assessment rule. Be it resolved, Council of Iron Cornwall is hereby approve the following listing of amendments of assessment as the 2023 supplemental taxes, 2022 increased assessment, $3,520,700. 2023 increased assessment, $3,783,000.
Councilor Rohan.
So you guys will see in your package, we did this last meeting. Assessment provided me with an additional property that they kind of missed when they provided me the report. You'll see it's all just associated with one agricultural operation. They put up a building.
Good, thank you, Jordan. Anybody else got any question? I just got a question. This is increased, correct?
Yes.
So last week, I think he called in. What happens if an assessment gets decreased? Do we have to do the same thing?
You guys passed the resolution last month where you both added and decreased
Okay.
based on building removals or
Yeah.
additions.
Okay, yeah, no, just wondering. Okay, that's good. Call for the question. All in favor? Carry. Okay,
Be resolved that the Council of the Iron Cornwall accept and authorize the quote for a host system for the municipality's general ledger operating system from Brent Piers at the cost of $1499.99 plus tax.
I'll second that motion.
second. Okay, can we get the CEO to just explain to the public what that's for? Or knowledge?
Brandon Computer Sales and Services are your guys' delegated IT source. Even though Munisoft can just run on a computer running, they would like it to be on its own dedicated server computer.
Yep.
So they provided a quote.
Anybody else? Any
Actually, there's more to it than that. Previous Assist software was running virtually. This is going to be running on a physical host.
Okay. Good, thanks, Gary. Yep. Anybody else? Call for the question, all in favor? Carry. Okay.
Did you guys want to address 11.3 at this time, or we're going to do it after in camera?
In camera. 11.4. Is that? Yeah. What do you do?
Be resolved that the council of the RM of Cornwallis hereby adopt the proposed legislative policy titled Land Acknowledgement.
I'll second that motion.
Anybody, any questions? All in favor? Carried. Eleven point five.
This is a spin-off of your guys' committee meeting where you spoke with Burns Mendel Consulting Engineering when it came to the Spruce Woods and Chater Lagoon. They indicated that they would be supplying you with a revised engineering services agreement.
Eleven point five. If nobody makes a motion, we'll skip over it.
Whereas Burns Mendel Consulting was previously retained by the RM of Cornwallis to investigate a potential site located on southeast 1410-18 West 1 for the development of a new clay-lined wastewater lagoon to service the communities of Spruce Woods and Chater. And whereas Burns Mendel Consulting Engineers, along with Trek Geotechnical, has conducted a geotechnical investigation of the site, confirming there is clay on site. However, it is highly variable, and the risk associated with utilizing this clay is too great to proceed with a clay-lined lagoon. And whereas in order for the RM to move forward with a wastewater solution for the communities, a suitable location as well as an update to sizing and project costing is necessary. Therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the RM of Cornwallis agree to the revised engineering services agreement at the new total stipulated professional fees of $14,775 plus taxes.
Have a second. Councilor Groen. Want to add something there? Mr. Ross?
This is a long, a very long, outstanding project, and I hope it comes to fruition.
You got something there? Yep. I'll just add something. Councilor Brown wasn't council with me. Yeah, we did locate like the motion says, a site. A lot of testing went in there, and it would have been a good site, out of sight, out of mind, way out of no man's land, but obviously it didn't work out for us, so now we're gonna engage him, or this company, to look for a suitable site closer to the community of Spruce Woods. At that time, we've got the community of Chater in here, but Chater now has access to a lagoon, so we'll keep our mind open here, and let's hope we can procure a piece of property out there and start moving forward with it. Okay, anybody else have anything?
Well, I just like to add that we've been trying to strive for something like this for well over 20 years, and it just has to get done.
Yeah. Agreed.
Just a quick question. Do we own property out there ourselves? Do we don't own anything?
Municipality, not enough for this. No. So, the challenge will be to get it in an area where, with the regulations and all that, but we'll get something out there. Yep. Nobody else has anything? I'll call for the question. All in favor? Okay, carry. Okay. $11.6.
I'll make the motion, whereas Sampson Engineering was completing the Lake Clemente Assessment and Solution Project funded by the 2022 Disaster Financial Assistance deductible under the Mitigation and Preparedness Program through Manitoba Emergency Measures Organization. And whereas in order to complete the project, an additional flat fee of $5,000 is required. Therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the RM of Cornwallis authorize the additional 5,000 in expenses to be borne by the general operating fund.
We'll have a seconder. Councillor Maxwell.
Pretty straightforward. There's still a few items, I guess, that has to be investigated, and that's the amount of money it's gonna take to cover it.
Just a warning to council though, is your MPP program concludes October 31st. So if he doesn't provide you deliverables by October 31st, you might be on the hook for your entire MPP program expenses if they do not grant an extension. We'll see how the next couple of weeks go. We can always request another extension to the program. But the deadline right now is currently set for October 31 for deliverables.
Mr. Chairperson, my concern is we've asked the engineer to provide us with, seek the approval from the stakeholders before this project can even go forward. And we haven't heard anything in regards to what the landholders will allow. So this could be the cart before the horse.
Let's see, have we got any feedback from the engineer? Because at our last meeting, he was supposed to reach out to Oakland, to residents there, and to any affected landowners. Has he provided us any feedback if he has got a consensus from these people at all?
No, I provide you guys my monthly correspondence with them.
Yeah.
He's stating that he has executed considerable extra work thus far as the scope necessarily diverged somewhat from what it was intended to be. So that included necessary additional meetings with council, stakeholders, landowners, sustainable development, and Jed and Ed.
But the question I have, that's a valid one there, Councillor Ross. For $5,000, what are we getting if the first landowner doesn't if we don't get consensus from him? Why even spend $5,000? Shouldn't we not? I thought we asked him to go get consensus and in writing to see if we can proceed, because the last communication with Mr. Carroll, nobody has reached out to him. He's the first person that we need consensus from. And nobody has reached out to him, the last communication I had with him. That's concerning.
Well, I have spoken with Mr. Carrolls, and I think that he's on board if things are going to be done properly, that's beneficial to everybody involved. So, I'm taking that some of this extra flat fee is to really nail down what we'd like to accomplish.
So,
Yeah, I think it's important that we advise the engineer of these deadlines, or is he aware of it?
Yeah, he's certainly aware of it quite regularly. He was the one who established the date of October 31st to provide to Manitoba EMO, which again was reminded to him in the documentation I provided council at the September meeting, where I recapped the June 20th reception of delegation and what was discussed and what the direction was.
like, when I read this resolution, like, what are we getting for $5,000? Like, it's a flat fee, but at the end of the day, what are we getting for $5,000? There's no indication of what we're getting here. Is it sign-offs from Oakland? There's no indication where the water's flowing, so we'll need Oakland's sign off after we get Mr. Carroll's. That's why I'm a little bit concerned about giving them a $5,000 blank check with no instructions. And we specifically told them we need consensus from all the landowners at the last meeting we had with him.
Mr. Chairperson, that's the only thing we asked of him.
Exactly. So I don't know what this $5,000 is for.
Well, that wasn't the only thing you guys asked from him, right? Because he wanted direction from council. You guys kind of directed and gave him the understanding that the goal was to move the water from point A being the lake to point B being the culvert and drain the tile between the two, in addition to requesting permitting assistance. So within his request for the $5,000, he kind of lays out why he feels he requires those additional funds to conclude the project.
Because that would have been the extra scope. What we directed at him at that time.
Design of culvert option and overland flow to explore and cost. Design of realignment of drainage north of Lake Clementi Road to explore and cost this option. Extra lake level surveys. In the meantime, he says he will continue to finalize the design of the drain tile option and submit for permit.
Yeah, within 2 to 3 weeks, and that was September 26th.
And that's the concern I have. He needs to cut across Mr. Carroll's property, the way I visualize it. But if Mr. Carroll says nobody's reached out to him for a consent, the first person we need consent from is Mr. Carroll's. And if we don't have it, why go spend $5,000 if we don't have to consent from the first property owner? That's wasting money.
Is it worth having him come in here and,
What's that?
is it worth having him come in here, Bill?
I think so. We need clarification, and Henry Carroll's. I think we need Henry.
Yeah, well, we need him to explain what he's done for us, where we're at.
I agree.
I'd like to see a plan. I mean, the paper one. Need to do it.
If we don't get that first property owner's signature or his willingness or a letter of intent that he will, under certain conditions, I think that $5,000 flat fee is money wasted.
As fiduciary, I have to agree.
What?
As fiduciary, I have to agree, Mr. Chairperson.
Yeah, I can't support it without clear instructions. But you got a motion on the floor. I mean, nobody else will call for the question. I can't support it because we don't have clear instructions. We need signatures, especially from Mr. Carroll's. He's the first one. Where it goes up after that, then I can see you either got a choice, Oakland or bury that 32-foot deep culvert he was talking about.
The thing about it is, how can he go to Mr. Carroll's
If he doesn't have a
if
plan.
he doesn't have a plan of the option of doing a tile and the price?
And if he doesn't have a permit to go to Mr. Carroll with, because if he doesn't have a permit, he can't go tell Mr. Carroll with.
Like,
The 5,000 isn't for new work. It's to recover costs already incurred.
yes.
That he's already done towards the permit then.
Yes. Some of the extra scope included necessary additional meetings with council stakeholders, landowners, sustainable development, Jen and Ed, including the design of realignment of drainage north of Lake Clementi Road, and to cost this option, the design of the culvert option and overland flow to explore and cost, topographic survey of ratepayers' home and yard, and the extra lake level surveys. He's saying the 5,000 is to just,
Also, he's done the work, but.
for this extra work, we're asking for a flat fee of $5,000 to cover the cost. In the meantime, we'll continue to finalize the design and drain tile option, submit for permit.
So,
So he's already done it. basically what we're
so
asking
what did we get for $5,000? We got nothing.
The necessary additional meetings with council stakeholders, landowners, sustainable development, Jen,
Yeah,
Ed.
but- yeah, what did we get in writing from him to, maybe he's had the meetings already and he's been told.
Simple as that. We need him to come in here and
Or
explain
would-
where he's at.
Yeah, I think we need to set up a meeting with him before I'd like to know what did we get for what did the taxpayers get for $5,000 is the question I got.
You guys completely changed the scope of the MPP program from beginning to where you're at now. The tile drainage was not the MPP program application project. But that's your guys' choice, yeah?
Why
You,
don't we-
you can defeat the resolution or have it
Well,
moved to unfinished business or,
Instead of defeating, I got a suggestion. how can we back out and call for a meeting? Because if it's defeated, then you can't deal with it for another year. Then we have to reverse it and all that. That's dangerous. I don't want to go on that. I'd like to set up a meeting with Mr. Dorn and find out exactly what has he done from the instructions we gave him. Go get written consensus. Has he even talked to anybody?
Mr. Chair, can I address council?
No, we can't. We're in council meeting.
We can definitely get Mr. Dorn, but that's gonna cost more money too.
We can get him on
He didn't come here
Zoom.
for nothing.
Yeah, well, on Zoom.
Time.
Well, no, one of his additional scope expenses included was the necessary additional meetings with the council.
But another meeting.
Yeah.
would be extra too.
Because he wasn't planning on coming out for June. That was at the request of council.
So he's basically done a whole bunch of work for us already that he's asking for. Somebody who can change the scope of his project.
But what? I'd like
Yeah,
to see-
those 5 items that were indicated in his
Five items
request.
that are on it.
But we need to know what he did. Like, what was the outcome of the work he did?
Well, what's the 5 items right there? That's what he's done.
No, but we need,
But he has
what
the top
was,
secret.
in detail, what was his outcome of the work that he did? What, did he find any solutions?
He's finalizing the design of a 15-inch drain tile conveying overflow water from the lake to the culverts at Highway 10. The intake from the lake will be a riprap channel to a gated pipe, and the outflow will be armored with riprap. That is what he believes is the most acceptable, cost-effective, and least maintenance solution that he is submitting for
So-
permit.
So he's got to design that.
He's finalizing the design.
Okay, I'd like to see a meeting or set up a meeting with his preliminary work that he's done. We can do it on Zoom too. Doesn't have to come.
He- you know,
I'd like to know what he's done. If he's already got a preliminary design, then we need to run that by Mr. Carroll, because if Mr. Carroll says that design, I'm not gonna accept it, well, do we even ask him to finalize a design when Mr. Carroll is not in agreement with that? That's why we need both of them. Let him show the preliminary design when Mr. Carroll, because it's on his property. We need
Thing
Mr.
is,
Carroll.
he's already done the work.
Yes, this is for additional work.
He's done the work.
The
that we asked
additional
him
work that
to be
we
in
asked
scope
him
of,
to
so-
do.
So he's gonna want more to finalize it.
For the extra work, he is asking for a flat fee of $5,000 to cover our costs. Please consult council and let us know if this is acceptable.
In the meantime, he's gonna continue to finalize the design of the drain tile and submit for permit.
Okay. So 5,000 is the work he's done. So anything else moving forward, he's gonna want another check
Well,
later
no,
on.
he said it's basically covered all. I'm just-
That's why I'm saying, let's put a stop to this until we meet with him and get Mr. Carroll in, because there's not much sense moving forward if Mr. Carroll will not sign off on or does not agree to use his property for overland grading. That's my concern. But that's only mine.
Call for the question, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, I'll call for the question. All in favor? Against? 3-2. Okay. Okay,
11.7, deal with that in camera.
yeah, on the tender, that's what I was thinking, because it's a contract, and I think we can't put it out over the airwaves.
So 11.8, be it resolved that the Council of the Arm of Cornwallis approve the proposed RF Now Incorporated Path Addition tying into existing fiber and continuing north along the east side of Leslie Street to service a customer at 88 Leslie Street.
Can I have a second? Anybody got any questions? All in favor? Carried.
Be resolved that in accordance with the Municipal Act, Section 152, 3, B2, council does hereby close the meeting to the public and move in camera at 8:29 PM.
And for preliminary as well. That was just for personnel, but it's for 3B3 as well.
And for 11.7, right, because it's a tender? Are we in agreement?
Yes.
Yeah. We'll deal with it when we come. Okay,
You got a call.
what's that?
You got a call.
Oh, yeah, sorry, did he get a second? Yeah, second. Call for the question, all in favor, sorry. Carried. In camera. Couple of things. May as well bring the computer. You want to do it here, or? I'm just,
They're staying. We got to go over it.
yeah. Are you folks staying? If not, we'll go next door if you still plan. It looks like they're moving, so we may as well stay here then.
I'd say go in another room.
Yeah, I have no problem. Yep, okay, they can stay. Yeah, you can stay, folks. No, this one is approved too, right? Gordon?
Yeah.
We approved that.
We were keeping up with this last one. Yeah. Chad's pretty happy too. We're just trying to. That's very lovely.
But I mean, we want to go he did allow.
They're great.
I know it's like, distinctively what it is.
She says they're trying to set the
Right.
They're trying to set it up. She has.
Yeah.
I have.
So they got that in there.
That's the,
It's not.
that's the overkill.
You can scan it to it.
You would have to have that one. The 10 hours a day, it does on the agenda.
And it has to be reservation.
It is.
But they're never gonna get a return on that. But the community could have done with that, that's all.
The same thing for $60,000. All the rest, that's the state runs by. There's no law. The assembly account, that's how it's accountable for.
So how do we pay that?
Well, I think with everything.
Well, like,
That's it, right, to this one.
there's, well, three more, I got the original thing where it was supposed to put the account, blah, 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 blah. First they did it, they left it on one of those, the men's club.
Well, I didn't see it.
It's the same person. So
Two-
how
Oh, I
is
didn't know
that
she was
just?
involved in that.
Oh, wow. Three, whatever, her, and then the other one, she was.
No, just to be sure.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Setting up is that we want to do.
See, I'm still even pay bills.
Well, that was
But if
for
this
my
is
budget.
second,
And I was there last week,
Well, there's.
or whatever.
Yeah.
I just, I want.
I would
Oh, we're doing it in the. But I wanna know. It's kind of done with September.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The answer was no.
On the table.
Yeah.
And I understand what they're saying. They want to know what it's not.
It's only.
It's one of the airport built.
It's six.
Yeah.
This is a
I
bill.
don't understand why they're not.
I just want Mayor Brian.
And the mayor, why is there?
That's my heart beating.
This is what you're asking us to do.
Yeah.
This is an
invoice,
not
a quote, it's an invoice.
Supposed to be a committee.
And, but generally, I didn't have to ask.
She's a partner, Brian.
But it affects their.
What's that service?
They didn't make that.
Like
great.
Well.
So.
Get an extension on it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, how you should get that.
I would say this is one thing.
Yeah, I think the,
A
well,
little bit. This is not very, we need the deadline, and they're not meeting the deadline.
Yeah.
And it was sort of-
So
these
guys
don't process it, and I kind of.
No.
Because I work on the post office, I live with them.
He's gonna go on some bloody holiday
Yeah.
here by the before the end
No,
of the
no, you gotta check.
For he won't be available, he's such a busy man, and the kids, he wants to be catered to.
School taxes.
Yeah, he wait, when they ask him to.
Did you get it this year?
That's not what we need from you.
Well, that's
It goes to your old.
Has he done it already?
Yeah.
That's not gonna be possible. Well, we just ask them, are you trying to?
And like they're
Everybody
everybody.
has one.
We already
Well,
had.
look at this office.
well, what's the difference?
Well, depending, like, are you talking
When I
the
first
school tax rebate? Like the one that they're gonna get the check?
You got a grant.
Are you talking about the three?
Larry sent an email.
Yeah.
It's always there. Can't get rid of it.
Trying to think what the office is.
I don't know.
Down
Every time I
on
drive by,
First
it's
and
always
Richmond,
like this.
I think.
The committee on that side of it.
That's for, that's for the mental farm.
Oh, absolutely, he wants to know where it's done, he wanted that all tiled a certain way. If no one
No,
hears
but
that,
that's-
Yeah,
there's a substantial amount of money
Yeah, it's not quite right.
to,
Well,
but he wants it done to such a standard.
350, but then there's
That's
the
what I
other.
want. That's what I
So
want
you
to
give
know.
750 plus, you should get a check in the mail. Okay, but you're missing the 350.
I know.
They lost the,
Well, yeah.
Very hard.
She went outside, she probably was.
She left her purse in the chair.
So you need to check in this so you can get it next year. Well, if it isn't here,
I'm relaxing, yeah.
I would go to First Street.
Yeah, breathing.
Way on the south, on the south corner, southeast corner.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's some of, at least they will tell you where it's at. Richmond Avenue, First, right to this corner. Yeah, right by it. Manitoba Agriculture Services Corporation. They
I'm just
were
trying to figure out how to
appointed.
make it better. You know, like, it's, you,
Go to that.
in all situations, somebody's
Yeah,
gonna be
first
here, let's
Richmond
figure
by
out.
two.
Well, you could have changed.
What about, Somebody who are the ghosts of,
That's for- There's another one by me. Oh, yeah, that's where she was, on Ninth. Right by City Hall. That's exactly where she was.
340 on 9.
Yeah, that's where it goes. Sure.
Yeah, and just ask security when you walk in.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's signs.
Sometimes
There's a
people not
board
understanding
where
what's
we walk
going
in.
on
That's
is
where-
what creates all this.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is,
Right by City Hall.
Squeeze the water, it's a lot behind.
Yeah, I don't know.
We should say whatever the problem is.
Most people don't vote for this school.
You don't have your home phone anymore.
No.
Can you put your
It
cell-
just seems like if you speak up.
I didn't know if you like, this is what Ashley.
Cut off my pension.
No, but I think
Tell my wife to take me out of the house.
anybody that challenges her.
She
already did
Yeah, but see, I gotta go ask, 24, 30,
Oh,
nice
you
place.
got it. That's great.
I'll go anywhere.
No, perfect, 'cause I thought-
Well, it was good for the things, you know.
Well, actually.
But that is part of the
Mom,
problem, because like I say, a lot of people
Oh,
And then I got to think of what the hell was on because I knew they already
Well,
turned this down in the appeal. It was-
It was lots of this
well,
background.
the best thing is the grant.
But like I said, no one's in- that's because-
Yeah.
I know that for a long time, I'm always.
Yeah.
Well, I did.
Well, it didn't even go out to
last time. Now I just.
Oh, no, I
How
don't
do
know.
I go?
Okay,
How do I go there?
Signs at the
Are you the
top.
president?
No, I'm.
But in the meantime, no, but in the meantime, 3 years ago, I said,
Hold on, one kid was
why don't,
last year.
why not get $500?
I don't know, I don't know.
But it's the same thing, you know, they're really small, they're not very organized, and
I don't know, which year.
people go out for coffee.
It seems like they cater to seniors, which is an important role in
Yeah,
the
and
community.
that's the thing, yeah.
There's two of the
Well,
blocks.
it's, the other road's better for, I don't know, line dancers. or
Right,
whatever.
we each
This
serve
one
a
is better for the seniors, for the-
Yes.
They have the
But
players,
she
the car
may
games
say-
and whatever.
Yeah.
Sometimes the car games get rowdy, but up to now,
Yeah.
up to now, we didn't have balls.
You have to be around when some of the
Well, see, the star show scares me,
I
right?
was scared that she was gonna.
Well, I said I put up prize money.
I heard that.
I offered a $200 donation to the Crib Club as
Yeah, I know,
to seed money for their prize
But
pool.
that road is safe.
on behalf of my dad.
Don't mention crime, competition.
Oh, Justin, we can look out.
Well, because my dad was a crib player and he worked at Shiloh for 30 years and every day at lunchtime he played crib.
One of these guys will be a while.
Anywhere between 85 and 88. We were in every morning, there were about 4 or 5 tables in the office, was all playing cricket. And because they went there every morning, they didn't want to pay about 50 each. So they said, we buy one coffee, there's our pot, you know, we just go in there and whatever. And then somebody piped up and said, why, how come they're not using the canteen, whatever, how come they are doing their own pot? There we go. Nobody went with it. Stupidity like that. You know, some other stupid pension or whatever, in my age, well, I was young, but doesn't matter, you know, cook them and stuff.
Well, just like I heard about that membership thing for our crib club.
Well, you know, but that's another reason, you're right, you know, and then, but it should be made clear.
It's saying
what
that you
you're-
have to be a member. We don't have a choice.
And then, well, that's the thing, I'll bring it up at the, whatever general meeting, and then we vote on it, and then somebody gets kicked out. And he said, well, I'm still here, well, I'm not how, Jesus.
Well, it's been a pleasure to chatting with you. It's always important.
Well, no, and then Eric doesn't mind if somebody calls me and asks questions, he knows that I'm glad. Or was that, was that supporting, or was it negative?
What's
Was
that?
to me?
What?
You-
Oh, sorry. What?
No, no, I'm good.
Oh, she,
It's fine.
he thought you said, So he-
Oh, no,
You
no,
want to
sorry.
go to that?
No, sorry, I didn't, I was like, what? No, I wasn't listening at all.
Ladies, have a good night.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I need something.
There's still a trip in the lake left out.
You're gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. Yeah.
nobody here. So that means artists, musicians, all that.
We could have stayed here.
You don't take caps for your gigs, do you? Like when you play at the band? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, do you? Oh, I didn't realize what you did or just.
It's, well, the music industry, oh, we're live.
Nope. There you go there.
Oh, never do that.
And we're still live, so.
Yeah. Okay. Beautiful.
I'll throw you my neck beard.
Oh, shit, everybody did leave.
We're not. We're live. We're still on there. One thing I forgot, but I didn't see any chats on there, Jordan, is at the public hearing to see any. Well, I was looking, I didn't see anybody on there. Okay, I have a motion to come out of camera.
Be it resolved that council conclude in-camera sessions and reopen the meeting to the public.
Can I have a second?
2 p.m.
A second.
Council Ross. Okay, any questions? All in favor? Okay, we are out of camera.
Let's go back to 11.3.
Do we have to refresh? Have you got something there, personnel chairperson, Jordan? The CEO?
No, because I still wasn't even clear of how you guys wanted that resolution to be read.
Well, I think that, like, the way it is.
Personnel chairperson? I think he's good.
I think.
We have resolved that the Councilor of Cornwallis hereby give authority to the chairperson of the Personnel Committee to contact a chosen interim CAO for their services.
Second.
Okay, you got a seconder? Well, just let me know when you're ready there. Oh.
So be it resolved that the council of the Arm of Cornwallis hereby give authority to the chairperson of the personnel committee to contract their selected candidate for interim CAO services.
You okay with that? Hoover? You have a seconder? Yeah, okay. Anybody with a question? All in favor? Carried.
That takes you to 11.7.
Whereas the municipality of Cornwallis advertised and works for the contracted services of solid waste and recycling containment collection and transfer stations for the years of 2024 to 2028, of which 2 proposals were received. Therefore, be resolved that the council of the RN of Cornwallis accept and select a proposal from MWM,
Yeah.
right? And direct administration to initiate special service levy for residential ratepayers who will be receiving solid waste.
Seconder, Councilor Ross. Anybody got any question? All in favor? Carried.
Motion to adjourn.
Seconder,
All elected.
Councilor Brown. All in favor? There, shut the. It's funny, adjourn, like, I guess Shauna Paulson.
We're still,
Yeah,
still live.
a lot of people say we don't have to have a second, or I still go through that second vote. As soon as you say adjourn, the meeting's adjourned. I've been